Hello and welcome to the Cowboy Chronicles, the Oklahoman's Oklahoma State football podcast. I am your host, Scott Wright, joined by Jacob Unruh. We're back at Stone Cloud on a Tuesday night. It's a good night to be here, man.
It is a good night.
Not that there's ever a bad night.
That's true.
Very good night, though.
It's a beautiful weather outside.
Right.
There's live music. There's another pop-up food stand. There's all kinds of stuff going on here. And It's a week that people probably want to drink after the game Saturday.
Oklahoma State fans might need a little alcohol to
Yes.
help them get through the week.
Yeah.
Till the Kansas game on Saturday. It's not a horrible thing.
I can't blame them. I mean,
No, not at all. All right. Well, we'll. I don't even know that we need to take a look back at the Kansas State game. We'll catch up some other thoughts as we go through. Look ahead to Kansas.
As Brock Martin said, they got their ass kicked and it sucked. So
That's
how he summed it up.
That encapsulates the mood of the team, I think.
Yeah.
All right. So a few housekeeping items. Want to remind everybody, of course, to subscribe to the Cowboy Sports Minute, the Oklahoma State newsletter. So go check that out. Want to ask you what you're drinking tonight, of course.
A good beer. It's
All
one
right.
of my favorites. It's called Ocean Flute. I've had it before on the podcast. We're getting to, a little repeat here, but that's okay.
Yeah.
Because it's great. It's an IPA. It's a hazy IPA, and it's still wonderful. One of my wife's favorite beers here is Ocean Fruit, and this is Flute. And they just said that it might be the same beer. It might have been rebranded. They're not entirely sure, but that's the rumor.
Typo when they.
Yeah. It could have just happened. But
autocorrect.
It's a wonderful, wonderful beer.
Very nice. All right. Good deal. You want to know whose beer this is?
Oh, yes, I do. Who got the score right?
Nobody.
Oh,
This is
shocker.
my beer.
You got your own beer this
I got
week.
my own beer.
Congratulations.
Yeah. So all the score predictions, we had several. I didn't actually count them up, but there were several.
There was a bunch.
More than 10. Nobody picked Kansas State, so nobody wins the beer.
Nobody picked Kansas State, and nobody certainly picked a team to win 48-0.
Absolutely not. Now, to be fair, we could have gone through all the predictions and figure out who was mathematically closest to OSU at 0, Kansas State at 48. That sounded like a lot of math, and I said no. I made a rule in that moment. I made a decision. You got to pick the winner right.
Well, we made that last week, didn't we?
Well, we did TCU week. We went that direction because we had somebody that picked TCU. So
they got to pick the winner. It's Price is Right here.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely fair. So, no.
But what are you drinking for yourself?
I am drinking Hatch 22, which is I'm very intrigued.
That's a good one.
It's very good. It's an American lager and got Hatch chilies and the
lots of good flavor.
The really interesting thing is as you're getting ready to drink it, you can really smell the peppery, the chili flavor, and then obviously it's a little bit different in the actual taste, but it's a party for the senses.
Yeah, really a party for the senses.
Oh, yeah.
I like that. That's
Absolutely
good,
is.
and it's not too spicy.
Right? No.
I've had some jalapeno beers and stuff that can get kind of spicy, but they're good. But yeah, this is a good balance.
Yeah, it is. I'm really enjoying this one so far, and we'll continue to do so. But if you want to have a Hatch 22 next week that I can drink, go put your score predictions in the comments. We'll go check them all out. Got to get the team right if you want to win the free beer that we will drink for you next week. So go do that. We appreciate all the people who've been joining in. See a lot of the same names popping up from week to week.
We appreciate those people.
We appreciate our the loyalty we appreciate the most.
Yeah.
Of overall. All right, lots of stuff that we need to talk about. So much so that I even made a list. I never made a list of anything other than the Stone Cloud.
You still did more homework than I did, so we're good.
I gotta maintain that. If I fall behind you, I'm getting nervous. The CFP rankings came out just a little while ago.
Oh yeah, OSU 18, right?
18. Any reaction, surprise, anything at all?
I mean, I wonder if it'd been lower.
Right.
After the 40, I mean, this is a human committee here making these judgments, and I kind of wondered if they'd fall in that 20 to 25 range.
Right.
18's, I think, about right, but I kind of wondered if they go a little lower. Just off the 48-0 loss sting.
Right. Especially with that so fresh in the mind, I was a little surprised to see them hang on in the top 20. Really surprised to see them one spot ahead of Tulane, who beat Kansas State.
Yeah.
That's the one, from our experience having done high school rankings, when you have common opponents that you can look at to weigh something on two teams that might be fairly even, something like that, one team beats said team, the other team loses 48-0, that can be a deciding
You should flip
factor.
them. It was the same with the AP poll, wasn't it?
It was.
Yeah,
So
that's
really,
got to be a factor.
Really strange to see that. Now, I know Oklahoma State has played a tougher schedule to this point than Tulane has. They've got some bigger wins than Tulane has. So I'm sure those are the things that outweighed the Kansas State common opponent situation. But it would have been really hard for me to overlook that if I'm ranking them like that.
Real tough. I don't know. But another surprise, it's not even OSU related, was TCU was only 7.
Right?
7 or 8. It was 8.
Yeah, I don't have
it was 8.
now, so.
And so they're behind Michigan and Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt like TCU had to arguably be in the top 4
Right.
at this point. 4 road wins,
Mm-hmm.
wins over Oklahoma State, Kansas State at home, OU at home.
Right.
I mean, they've got a good resume at this point. That one surprised me a little bit, but it kind of maybe shows how the committee still views the Big 12.
Yeah. Feels that way, and you got to factor in the quarterback play, the good fortune the TCU has had.
Yeah, I still
injured,
question some of that. So.
injured or completely absent quarterbacks.
Yeah.
So definitely. And on that topic, let's look ahead to this week.
Injured quarterbacks are the question marks
here.
here.
No idea who is going to be quarterback either of these teams
No,
this week.
It's unclear. It could be Spencer Sanders. Could be Gunnar Gundy. Could be Garrett Rangel. I mean, I don't know. Maybe
right.
maybe Mike Gundy decides, hey, let's start Garrett.
Right.
I doubt it, but he could.
And on the other side, it could be Jalen Daniels. Could be Jeremy Bean. Jalen or Jeremy? Who's it?
Jason.
Jason. Jeremy Bean. Random fact: Jeremy Bean played high school golf with me at UConn.
Oh,
Yeah.
cool.
He's not a Kansas quarterback. He's not even on the depth chart. So, hey, Jeremy. Yeah, Jason Bean.
Yeah,
Jason or Jalen?
that's tough. I mean,
It feels like Jalen Daniels could be coming back. He was dressed out 2 weeks ago on the trip to Waco.
He's
Didn't
practicing
play.
this week.
Right. They had the off week. Now they've got a chance to get him back. I think there's a good chance that he's going to be out there at this point. With Oklahoma State, obviously, ever since Spencer Sanders initially got hurt, Mike Gundy has clamped down on any injury information.
We can't ask about anybody now.
No. But there's 2 things that you and I have discussed that are really significant in very telling in this situation. Number 1 is the amount of pain that Spencer Sanders appeared to be in as he was leaving the field on Saturday. This dude does not show pain.
No.
He does not let that. I mean, I was at the game when he injured his thumb, tore the ligament that kept him out, and then 2020, the ankle injury. He limped off, so you could tell that something was wrong, but not showing pain the way that he was.
Yeah,
coming off the field.
He almost looked to me like he couldn't breathe.
Right.
He was in so much pain, and that was problematic.
Mm-hmm.
So that's worrisome. Gunnar got in there late, should have been there earlier, but yeah, I don't. That's alarming to me that Spencer is going to let that much show.
Right. And then on Monday, Mike Gundy, when discussing Spencer, says that he's hopeful that he can play. Typically, if Gundy is going to bluff, and he's usually going to bluff in injury situations, he's going to bluff with confidence.
Yeah.
Not hopefully he can get out there and practice and be able to play. That's not typical Gundy. And those 2 things together lead me to think that there's something significant enough it could keep Spencer Sanders out of this game.
Man.
It's a scary situation.
What a turn of events for this team.
Right. It could be very interesting to see what direction things go if they have to play Gundy or Rangel for an extended period of time. Considering the struggles they've had running the ball,
yeah,
you don't have anything to fall back on to give those guys a cushion, and that could get scary really fast for 2 guys with no experience.
And Mike said that the offense doesn't really change with those guys,
right?
But it changes.
Oh yeah,
the plays may be the same, but everything changes otherwise.
Yeah, absolutely. Both of them are athletic. Both of them can move. Neither of them can move like Spencer Sanders.
Correct.
And neither of them have the depth of knowledge in the offense to make the reads that Spencer Sanders does. So it is a significant step from Sanders, even a not fully healthy Sanders that we've seen the last few weeks, to where I'm just going to say Gundy because I think he's still the number 2 guy.
Yeah.
To where Gundy is at right now. And that's not a knock on Gundy. That's just the fact that he's only been in the he's a redshirt freshman. And he hasn't been in there for live action the way that Spencer Sanders has over the course of his career. And the learning curve is different for him right now.
He doesn't have the – I don't know that he has – Gunner's going to have confidence. I'm not saying he doesn't have confidence, but I don't know that he has the confidence to make some of the throws Spencer does.
Right.
Or, and I'm not saying he doesn't have the ability because I think Gunner can throw the ball pretty well. But there's a certain confidence and belief on some of these throws from Spencer that you're not going to get from a backup quarterback.
Right. No. It becomes very different in terms of how comfortable you are running some of the things that you have to run at that point. And that stresses even more the absence of the run game, which is something I'm writing about later this week and we talk about more later. But it just feels like Oklahoma State is in a very tenuous situation at the quarterback position right now. So we'll see what happens. We'll see if something comes out as we get later into the week. But it feels very odd.
Yeah, it's a creepy feeling. Not creepy. It's a ominous feeling. That's what I'm looking for. That might be the same word, I guess.
It's a good word for it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, like I said, not a whole lot to look back on as far as the Kansas State loss. We talked about so much of it in our post game.
We covered that. There's not a lot to cover.
So we'll move ahead to some of the things. I think practice is the big item.
We're talking about practice.
Yeah, we're going down Allen Iverson Boulevard with this one, talking about practice. But it's really important, and I don't know what the guys. Then we got to talk to Corey Black, Jaden Nixon. I almost said Jalen Daniels, which would have really thrown off my Jeremy Bean comment from earlier. Jaden Nixon, Caleb Etienne, and Brock Martin today. Taking inside of those conversations here in a little bit, but I assume everybody that you talked to was asked what practice has been like compared to last week when Mike Gundy was very open about the fact that he backed off a little bit, tried to protect guys' health. What did guys you talked to have to say about
Brock was the one I heard. I came up on Jaden Nixon late, so I didn't quite hear that question. Probably should have asked it anyways. But Brock said basically he didn't know if that was the issue last week for sure. He really can't pinpoint it. He said they didn't really get off the bus is really what he said. But he said this Tuesday was much better than last Tuesday. If that's any kind of indicator. And Brock's been around a long time.
Right.
So I kind of tend to believe him when he says this Tuesday is better than last Tuesday.
Yeah. You would assume that a guy that's in his sixth year, been through as many practices as him, can feel the difference.
Yeah.
And at that level. So.
And Brock was all business tonight too. There wasn't a ton of extra stuff added on that, but it definitely got the sense that he feels better about tonight than he did last Tuesday.
Yeah. And he's a guy that will I don't want to say loosen up because he's very dry and comes across as very serious most of the time, even when he's being silly.
Yeah.
So that's, I think, a sign of where this team is mentally right now, wanting to make sure that they're locked in. And because I've said this before, but not on the podcast, obviously, I think the mental aspect was more damaging than not having two physical practices last week. Because typically Tuesday and Wednesday are their physical practices. Thursday, they lighten things up. Friday, walkthrough type stuff, basically. So I think the absence of the physicality leads to a false comfort mentally and emotionally, and I think it's a subconscious thing. But I think that it's more damaging than the absence of physicality from the physical perspective. I think that comes back pretty quick when you get on the field. I think that it led to a lack of preparedness that they were not prepared to handle. So I think that's the situation that they were really facing on Saturday up in Manhattan, and I think that's going to be remedied this week. Now, whether they're healthy enough, talented enough to go up there with what they've got available and go compete with a Kansas team that's very different than they've been in the past is a different story. I think it's a close game up there. But I think that mentally and physically they're more prepared they will be more prepared for what's coming on Saturday.
Yeah, that's the sense I got from Brock.
Yeah,
he said he had meetings. There was meetings with players and coaches, and they were short and direct to the point. But yeah, I think that's where Brock's getting at with some of this.
Right. You mentioned Jaden Nixon. I came in late on that. A lot of talk about the run game with him.
Yeah,
it sounded like.
Yeah, he didn't seem discouraged. He says there's obviously some things they need to fix, but they're looking at themselves, trying to figure out they've missed some holes and reads and cuts and things like that. And so I think they're looking at themselves more than the whole issue, I think. But I think Nixon's encouraged by what he's been able to do. They were encouraged by DeAndre Jackson. Nixon was really encouraged by DeAndre's ability to run the ball, I thought. So they get Dom back this week, which, I saw Dom was in pads today. Then, maybe some things improved there, but he didn't seem too discouraged. You're there, too. I don't know what you thought.
Right, I felt the same as well, and I talked to Caleb Etienne. They seem to have a lot of confidence in their ability to fix things right now.
Mm-hmm.
And, in discussing this with Mike Gundy on Monday, it's not just their inability to run the ball. I think the big issue is their inability to run the ball when they have a run-favorable defensive front on the other side.
Mm-hmm.
When you're running against a six-man box, you need to be able to block that and make a guy miss and get some yards, and they're not doing that right now. And that's the more concerning thing than just having poor production from the running back position.
Yeah.
So, and that's what I'm going to be writing about later this week for Thursday's paper, is taking a look into that, because it becomes an issue where, and we see it on Twitter all the time, Oklahoma State fans ripping Casey Dunn for trying to run the ball as much as he does. They've got to try to run the ball to try to open some things up for the pass, because if you can't run the ball at all, you're surrounded by landmines trying to throw the ball.
Yeah, Spencer right now, I said this earlier to someone, is trying to force the football where it can't go.
Right.
Because he has no other choice right now. So he's trying to do the impossible, and it's just putting this offense in a really bad spot.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. It's making it very difficult for them to be productive, because they need that balance to give them a chance to do the things that they need to do passing the ball. So I asked multiple guys this post-game at Kansas State whether injuries are inhibiting their ability to go as fast as they were earlier in the year. And they all took it as if I was asking if the replacements couldn't run the offense.
Right, yeah.
And that's not what I was getting at. What I was getting at is that they can't run the full complement of plays with everybody, and they're having to sub more.
Yeah.
And I think that might be a bit of an issue with them trying to go tempo, because it seems like they're substituting a lot more frequently on offense than they were early in the year when they would get the tempo going. So something else to watch as this game on Saturday plays out.
And another thing is I talked with Brock Martin about the pass rush, because pass rush has been a concern. And he said, I said, if I had 2 sacks the last 3 games, what's your concern there? And he basically said it's not just about sacks. It's about pressures. It's all he started breaking down all these different things getting the quarterback, and he said all this. And I said, well, are you happy with that? And he said, no, last 3 or 4 games I'm not happy with that. They've got to get better. So they're fully aware of it, but he said a lot of it too is just they're running max protect a lot of times against this line, or the quarterback's getting rid of the ball super fast, and they're doing all these things to negate defensive line, and they're trying to figure out how to adjust.
Right.
So I thought that was pretty interesting.
Yeah. It's a really tricky situation, because they need the help on the back end, particularly as they've been dealing with injuries or guys just not being fully healthy the last few weeks. But at the same time, how often do you pull Kendall Daniels up and try to blitz him?
Yeah.
Or do some things with your linebackers when you might get, you might need one of them in filling a gap somewhere else. So it's a really tough situation that they're in, because they need that pressure up front to make things a little bit easier for the guys in the back, and it's just not happening right now.
Yeah, and Brock even mentioned the guys in the back. They got to help them more.
Right. I visited with Caleb Etienne, talked to him about the bounce back from a loss like that, and he admitted he's never been a part of a loss like 48-0. So it's a really unique scenario for him, but felt like practice has been going much better, much more physical this week, and they get tired of hearing can't run the ball,
right.
run the ball, and they know that they need to fix things. But like I mentioned earlier, he feels very confident that they know what they need to fix. So we'll see how things transition over the next couple of weeks. Casey Dunn in postgame the other day talked about, a new scheme here or here or there to give people a different look, give them a different edge somewhere. So we'll see what they do this week to counter what's been going on the last couple of weeks, whether it's, I definitely think that they missed Dominic Richardson more than people probably realize. Because, and I get that Dom is not a home run hitter. I mean, his longest rush of the year is 19 yards. He's not a guy that's going to go break off a 50-yarder all the time. But he gets yards where there aren't yards. And that's, I think, something they're really missing when he's turning a 2-yard run into a 5-yard run and doing little things like that. That's something that they really missed from him last week that could have been very helpful. So we'll see how that goes with him and the other guys. Obviously, they have got to have that production. Also got to visit with Corey Black.
Corey Black, cornerback?
Cornerback Corey Black.
Cornerback Corey Black.
Cornerback Corey Black. Cornerback Corey Black. Say it 5 times real fast. Don't try it. It's not worth it. He is very encouraged by the direction things are going on the back end, the secondary as a whole. Cam Smith has been a guy didn't play a ton last week, but has been rotating in, and from a guy that was a third teamer when they started Texas Tech week to be a regular player as much as he had. They've been very pleased with what he's done. Said he's a very well-rounded cornerback and has a high football IQ that they think has helped him to kind of blossom in a tough situation. So looking at this week, obviously things change based on who the quarterback is because Daniels is a different type of weapon than Bean.
Bean's real streaky too.
Yeah, he absolutely is. So they know that things could change with that, and they don't know what to prepare for. But for the most part, they feel that the majority of what Kansas is doing is fairly similar regardless of who's taking the snap. So just some added wrinkles here and there. So they feel confident in what they're preparing for at this point.
Yeah. So I got distracted just a little with the music's playing, the live music's playing now. And it's Jason Isbell's song. This guy, whoever this person, I don't know the band here, but they're singing to Jason Isbell, and it kind of, I love Jason Isbell. So it kind of,
you're gonna start singing along.
I might, yeah. We might lose some followers on this.
There might be some copyright issues. We might be infringing on someone.
We might be.
This beer, I really feel like I need some tacos to go with this. With the jalapeno or the hash chili flavor.
That's good. It's a good idea.
Great with some tacos or
might have to get some after this podcast.
Yeah, exactly. So just keep every time I take a sip, that's what I think of. So
sorry, I really like that song. It's
a great song.
It is a great song.
All right, what else is lingering out there that we have not discussed yet?
That's a very good question. Is something that I meant to ask Mike Gundy about this. I didn't know if he would talk about it or not, but how much is the bye week placement hurting this team right now?
Right. Yeah.
A week 4 bye week, and then you get 9 straight Big 12 games. There's just no recovery period here for the team that's getting beat up like the OSU is right now. I think that's a huge factor.
Right. And, we talked to Gundy about it at the time, and he said, a couple of weeks later would have been ideal.
Yeah.
Get another couple of games in before you have that break. Yeah. And you really feel like that probably would have benefited this team a whole lot more.
Yeah, bye week after TCU, bye week after Texas Tech even.
Right, even
but
that early.
TCU would have been good. Then you get Texas and Kansas State out of the gate. I mean, they're really – it's kind of the bad luck of the draw there. I mean, they just kind of got hit with on that.
Yeah, it is.
And no one's going to whine about it around OSU.
No,
OSU. Mike Gundy's never going to use injuries as an excuse.
No,
but it's obvious they're beat up right now. They're not 100%, and I can't help but think that early bye week is really a factor here because
they didn't deal with a lot of injuries that early in the season. There were a couple here and there, but not a lot that piled up, and it immediately hit after the bye week started. So, or within a couple of weeks. So. It was very unfortunate. Like I said, just luck of the draw It's just how it goes sometimes. But it was a very
Yeah.
unfortunate situation for them trying to get through that. So, all right,
Is it time for our six pack?
time for
I think
Stone
it's
Cold
time to
six-pack?
crack open a
I
six
think
pack.
it is. I think it's time to jump in. Before that, it's the day after Halloween.
Oh yeah,
Cohen, what did Cohen go as?
Cohen killed it.
Did he?
He absolutely killed it as a dragon.
Very nice. Oh, nice.
I called him Coco the Magic Dragon.
Coco the Magic.
Yeah, because we call him Coco.
Uh-huh.
And
Right.
so Coco the Magic Dragon, he was adorable. Got to go around the neighborhood a little bit. We pushed him around in his little Tyke's car, so you can kind of push him around
Right.
in. And he got candy. Tried to go in everyone's house because he thought, we're going to the front door. We're going to the house.
Yeah, that's what
But
you do.
got some candy, and then we handed out a bunch of candy. It was a wonderful first trick or treat for him because we didn't take him last year because he was one.
Right. Yeah.
But he had a good time. He started getting the hang of it and knew to take some candy and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Except, as people know who watch or listen to this podcast, we had our candy draft and how much I hate Whoppers. I think Whoppers are the worst Halloween candy. You know, the first thing he grabs from our neighbor across the street when he gets the first pick, he grabs a pack of Whoppers, and I thought, this kid.
He'll learn.
Yeah, he'll learn. And then the next house, he grabs a pack of Whoppers again. And I thought, what is happening right now? He didn't grab any the rest of the night, mainly because I slapped him out of his hand. No, I was kidding. I didn't slap him out of his hand. But, he did that twice, and I thought, man, what is happening to me right now? Just wants to torture Dad.
Yeah. I was when you were talking about not taking him last year because he was one. That feels like straight, just parents wanting free candy.
Yes, absolutely. Because we gave Cohen some of the candy. He's not getting very much of it. But we gave him some of the candy. He liked some Reese's Pieces last night. He enjoyed those.
Nice.
So.
Good deal. All right.
But, yeah.
Tayden, of course, is 13, so the novelty. When your kid walks up to the door and goes trick or treat, it's not the same. It's just not.
We had some kids around that age last night.
Yeah. There was plenty of them, and we saw a lot of his friends out, so I get it. But it feels different at that point. But he was dressed as a character from Among Us. If you know what Among Us is,
You told me about this off the air on
right.
the game, and
I just call him a murder astronaut, and that's basically what he is. So. I was really caught off guard by the number of Super Mario characters that I saw coming through the neighborhood.
Really?
Yeah. The plumber phase is really going strong.
The Italian plumber is hitting hard, huh?
Really hard.
Huh.
I was really surprised.
Is it because they're remaking that into a movie?
Right. The movie's getting ready to come out here.
Speaking of, did you ever see the old movie that they did? Like the live action one when we were kids? They made that.
Yeah.
I loved that movie.
It was a lot of fun.
It's terrible. It's a terrible movie.
Oh yeah.
But I love it. I'd watch it again right now if I could.
Are you old enough to remember the TV show, the human TV show?
No.
Live action.
No.
It was not good at all. It was
I didn't
way
know
worse than
that
the movie.
existed. No.
Way worse than the movie. Didn't last very long.
Okay, well, the movie at least had some names and stuff in it, and
The
it was
TV
fun.
show did not. All right, time for the Stone Cloud six pack. Our last three football topics before we move on to non-football. Our last three. Our draft could be football related.
Yeah.
But
It's not
necessarily
OSU
football
really.
related.
Yeah.
So
And I did my homework like always.
yes, none.
None.
Very good. All right, we're starting on the defensive side of the ball. Over or under 1.5 sacks for OSU. They have only had 2 the last 3 games.
I'm going over.
Going over?
I'm going to dial up. They're going aggressive this week.
All right.
And I think they're going to dial up some blitzes more than they have, and I think
Okay.
they're going to get to the quarterback.
All right. I'm going under on
Okay.
this one, and this is not an indictment of how the defense plays. I think Oklahoma State goes up and wins this game at this point. But I think Jalen Daniels plays.
It's hard to sack Jalen Daniels.
And sacks become an issue.
Yeah.
Kansas has both protected the quarterback and been elusive at the quarterback position.
Yeah, that's fair.
Very well this season. I think that they avoid the sacks.
Yeah.
But like I said, I still that's not saying that Oklahoma State doesn't find a way to win this game. Next, over or under 5.5 yards per rush for Kansas. This has been a bit of an issue for the Oklahoma State defense. They hadn't given up over 5 yards a rush in a game since 2020, and they've done it 3 weeks in a row now.
I'm going to go 5.5. I'm going to go under, but they're still going to be over around 5.
Okay. So in the 5-1, 5-2 range.
Yeah.
Maybe,
Maybe right at 5.
Yeah.
Maybe 4-9. You know, I think they're going to be right around that. That's what I'm going under.
I'm going over as well, and I know that
Okay.
this sounds like I'm really going hard on the OSU defense here. I'm not necessarily. I think Jalen Daniels makes this much of a difference.
That's fair, yeah.
A couple of decent quarterback runs can bump that average up pretty quickly.
Yeah.
So that's what I feel is going to be the issue here. All right, last one among our OSU questions in the Stone Cloud six-pack. Over or under 1.5 OSU players to throw a pass?
Under 1.5. I'm going over.
I think you got to go over on this one.
And it may not even be a second quarterback who throws
Right.
this. Last week might have been. I'd have to go back and watch all the plays, and I don't have time to do that. But this might be the last week. Last week might be the first time they did an attempt to pass with a non,
or at least have a called one. That
at least have a
that
called
didn't get
one.
thrown.
Yeah, like Ollie Gordon at TCU who
Mhm.
didn't throw the ball. It will not be Jaden Nixon. I will promise that. If
I
the
think
second
that's safe.
passer is a non-quarterback, it is not Jaden Nixon.
No, that's fair. That his shot put look on that trick play was
He
not
nearly
smooth.
got Spencer killed.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I think they're going to scratch him off that list. So, but I'm going over.
I'm with you there. There's so many combinations that it could be two quarterbacks, could be a quarterback and a trick play. I think we definitely see them go over. If you had to predict who the non-quarterback throwing player was, who do you go with this?
Brendan Presley.
Ooh, I like that. Has he thrown one yet?
Not this year.
Not this
but
year.
he's had success in the past.
He has. That's right.
Doing it. So I'm going Brendan Presley.
That's a good call. I'm with you on that one. I'm piggybacking that one right there. All right. Anything else football, Oklahoma State football, that we need to get in before we head to the bottom three of our Stone Cloud six?
I don't think so.
I think we got it all. Reminder: go put your score predictions in the comments.
Yes.
So you can win a free beer that we will drink for you next week. All right. Time for the draft. Our final three in the Stone Cloud six-pack. Non-OSU sporting events that you would like to cover.
So here's my question on this. I didn't get to ask you this off the air. Are we doing like real sporting events, or do you want to pull like a fictional sporting event?
Well, I'm
Do you want to?
very intrigued by the idea.
I mean, do you know, like, I mean,
If you go three fictional, I might bail on you. I
Right.
might shut it down, but I'll allow it.
Okay.
I'll allow a fictional sporting event.
I don't know if I have one necessarily in mind, but I was just curious.
All right.
It might come to me.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Be as specific
Yeah, okay.
or unspecific as you like here. I think it's my turn to go first, and I don't worry about that because I know that my top one is not going to be on your list.
Okay, that's good. I was
So-
I don't think you're going to take my top one,
Yeah.
but
I'm going number one, the Masters.
the Masters, yeah, it's not on my list. I'm
No.
just not
I
a big
felt-
golf guy.
I felt safe with that. That's been one of my favorite events since
Yeah.
I was little. Always been obsessed with golf, and just going to the Masters is a bucket list item. But the opportunity to cover the Masters would be phenomenal.
Have you ever been to the Masters? You
Never been. Never
oh,
been.
man.
No, I've never been to Augusta. Period. I would just like to go see the course and
Yeah.
the azaleas and all of that. But getting to cover it. Okay, I got to cover the PGA Championship in Tulsa
Right.
back in May. I saw how the media was treated there.
Can you
And
imagine
just-
the Masters?
and
I've
just-
heard a
and
lot
just
about that.
A pop-up situation where they're there for a limited amount of time and then gone. When they've got it there every year and you know it's coming back and you know they're going to be taking care of you, I can't imagine what
Yeah.
the situation
That's
would be
pretty
like
good.
there. So that's for multiple reasons. That's the top of my list. All right, what's your first pick?
It's obvious for me, the World Series.
Yeah,
The Major League Baseball World Series, not the World Series of Poker or whatever. The World Series.
yeah,
I've been obsessed with baseball since I was 3 years old.
right.
And the bucket list for me is to cover a World Series. I've covered one MLB playoff game in my career, and I was freaking over the moon getting to do it. And that, and so the chance to cover the World Series, I don't care who it is, it's just something about the idea that I get to go watch the two best teams in baseball battle it out in this epic 7-game series. It's the mecca of all sporting events to me is the
Yep.
World Series,
That's fair.
which I think is going on right now. So we probably need to hurry up here.
Okay, my apologies.
No, I'm good.
No,
I'm just kidding.
No, it's funny because I went ahead and made my list knowing that was going to be most
Yeah.
likely your first pick.
Yeah. I could do all kinds of baseball events if I wanted to, but I'm
right,
probably not
yeah.
going to.
I went even more specific. I specifically had World Series Game 7 on my list.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's really good. Yeah.
All right, my second pick. I'm narrowing this one down a little bit as well. I'm going to go Final Four Saturday. I don't want
Oh,
the
yeah.
championship game. I want the back-to-back
Man,
semifinals.
that's a
the
good one.
doubleheader of the semifinals in the Final Four.
See, I debated if I could take that because it could be an OSU event.
Well, I will specifically request a non-OSU.
Oh,
Final
okay,
Four.
okay.
So the next time that the NCAA decides to needlessly punish OSU,
Okay, there we go. Yeah,
that'll be the year.
I cover the men's basketball team,
Right,
so that's why I was hesitant
That's
if I
fair.
could take that.
That's fair.
So
I don't know.
Yeah.
We're making up the rules as we go.
That's
but
perfect.
I've got it. I've got it on my list. You can't have it now anyway.
that's fine. That's
All
fine.
right.
Well, then in that same spirit, I'll take the College World Series because
All
I have
right,
not
then.
covered the College World Series.
And you've been very close.
I
couple of
yes,
times.
and I would love to have a chance to go to Omaha and cover that. And I thought last year might have been the year, this last season, but maybe next season. You know,
Yep.
with OSU, I think reloading, but it's not OSU. Is what I'm requesting
Right.
here, just
Right,
for the
right.
purposes of this draft.
Yeah.
But right now, OSU's my ticket there. But
Right,
yeah, the College World Series.
That's fair. Oddly enough, I was really close to covering one as well. Right before you joined me on the beat because
They got to the Super Regionals.
they
that
did.
year.
Nathan Ruiz had left to go cover the Baltimore Orioles, which I thought was a horrible decision because they're trash. No, sorry, Nathan.
No, you're
We
not.
love you, man. I was really sorry that he left because I was
Yeah.
left in the spring covering several
Yeah.
events at that point. But one of them was that baseball team with Colin Simpson and Trevor Boone.
Yep. I covered that regional
That's right. You
championship
did, helping
game
me
where
out.
they hit the Bricktown sign in
Exactly.
Bricktown. And
because I was
and Trevor
with the
Boone hit
softball
it.
team
Yeah.
at the World Series. So
Yeah.
that I got really close. They went 3 games with Texas Tech
Yeah.
out in Lubbock in the Super Regional, and so I was really close to getting to go.
Yeah.
Completely unexpected, but is
It's your turn
My
now.
turn again?
I picked the
Okay.
College World
All right,
Series.
very
It's your
good.
turn.
I've got 3 others that I actually. There's actually 4. There's one I didn't put down because I knew I wouldn't get to it. The Daytona 500 would be cool, but covering a NASCAR race is really difficult. I've done
Yeah.
it down at Texas. It's hard. You go out there and watch. You can have the scanner on and hear some of the audio, but it's a little bit complicated to actually cover one. But that's a fun event. The Kentucky Derby I thought would be
That'd
cool
be
to
fun.
cover.
Yeah.
But I don't know. You got to interview a horse at the end. I don't know. How that's
I
gonna
interviewed
go.
BB. All right. So
That's right, you did.
I can do it.
I really wanted. I hope I'm not stealing one from you, but I came really close to putting Super Bowl in my number 3 slot.
I thought about it. Super Bowls, I think, is a pain.
It feels like it would be.
It feels like a lot more
So
work
much-
than it should
so
be.
much other stuff.
Yeah.
Going on.
So much media there in the way that
Right.
really shouldn't probably be there.
Yeah.
And so I just.
So
It's-
with all of that off the table, I'm going with a really odd one here. I think, but I think it would be fantastic to cover. I'm going with the Olympic decathlon.
Oh.
It's in my mind the most incredible display of athletic ability
Yeah.
of anything that happens short of Bo Jackson or Jim Thorpe. It's to have all the different disciplines, all the different talents that you have to display to do it over the 10 events. I've never covered track beyond the high school level,
Right.
but I watched kids that went on to college and saw how difficult it was to be good at so many different things. I've always been fascinated by it, and I love it. And I don't follow track all that closely. I don't necessarily get fired up for it, other than Olympic years. But I think covering that and following the race to be the top athlete in the world would be astounding.
Yeah, that's a good one. I don't know what I'm gonna do for my 3rd one.
Uh-oh.
I know I'm in a little bit pickle here. I didn't come up with anything fictional off the top of my head.
All right.
Watch Henry Rowan Gardner pitch. I don't know.
The Tecmo Super Bowl.
Yeah, Tecmo Super Bowl. I consider the Olympics. You went really specific with
Very
it, but the
specific.
Olympics could be fun.
Mm-hmm.
I considered the NBA Finals.
Mm-hmm. Solid.
It's a good one. That could happen here with the Thunder maybe
Right.
again at some point. Who
Yeah.
knows?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe. But I think I'm going to go with the Rangers winning the World Series.
Oh, really?
I'm going to go specific.
Wow.
I'm going to go all baseball here.
So fictional.
It is fictional. Yes. It's very fictional, but I'm going to go with that.
All right. I'll take it.
Even though actually it might be better that I'm a fan in the stands on that one, but
yeah, that would be tough. Being in the press box, watching that would be a difficult situation, particularly if you're just covering the series.
yeah.
Like if you got a job as the beat writer, you cover 162
Yeah,
games.
it'd
in the
be a little
playoffs.
easier. Yeah.
It's a different feeling by that point.
Yeah.
Because I remember the first time I went back to a Yukon high school football game to cover it.
Right.
There were some emotions, but the second, third, fourth time it started getting easier and easier, and then it wasn't an issue at all by the time.
But I'm going to go that specific. I'm just going to do it.
All right.
Screw it. Why not?
I like it.
You know what else I considered?
What's
this it would have been more of a joke than anything. And West Side high school football team winning a state title on 6A1.
That would be fun. That's
because in all of our in your and I's career, we never got to cover that.
No.
So
Trying to think of, I never even. Oh no, I covered Norman North when they played against.
I never covered one.
Union, just playing for it.
Yeah, I never covered one West team playing for it. So yeah, that would have been.
That's a fun one.
Yeah,
that would be a lot of fun to watch. All right, is that it? Are we done?
I think so.
Anything? I'll double check my list just to make sure.
Another one I considered too. Actually, sorry, I'm still going with this.
No, you're good.
MLB Hall of Fame induction.
Ooh, that's
which
nice.
Might actually need to go over the Rangers one, but I'm going to stick with the Rangers because I already picked it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the MLB Hall of Fame induction because I've been there on induction weekend and it's magical.
Yeah,
so that'd be fun.
That's strong.
Getting to hang out with all the Hall of Famers,
right?
And write about it.
All the legends that are there.
Yeah,
that would be hard to compete.
All right, if I'm allowed to switch, that's what I would do. But I know I'm not allowed to.
All right.
So yeah,
I would have allowed it considering that you think the Rangers might win a World Series sometime in your lifetime.
Yeah, it's very fictional, isn't it? So,
all right, well that'll do it. Remember, put your score predictions in the comments. We'll get you a free beer if you win next week, and we will gladly drink it for you. Of course, subscribe to the Cowboy Sports Minute, the Oklahoman.com's Oklahoma State newsletter, and come out and hang out with us sometime on a Tuesday night. We're always here by 6:45 and setting up and having a good time. And this is a great place. It's they've had music, they've had dogs, they've had it all going on tonight.
Yeah, that was big dog I walked by earlier. Did you see that big dog? I thought it was huge.
I caught him in the screen.
I think it was as big as me.
It might have been
a huge dog.
Yeah, very impressive. All right, well, I think that'll do it. So thanks to Chris for putting this together for us, and thank you for watching and listening to the Cowboys Podcast.